What is up, guys? Welcome back. Today is the RMS foundation video. If you guys have been on my channel a very long time, you might remember the last time that I reviewed an RMS foundation, and it was actually their first foundation, at least to my knowledge, that they had ever put out, and it bombed. If you're expecting a performance product for your $52, you're not going to get a performance product for your $52. You're going to get a natural RMS vibes kind of product. It bombed as far as I was concerned. It was really heavy. It was like it was going after the same vibe that the Jones Road foundation has been going after, except it didn't melt into the skin. It just kind of sat there. That one's still for sale, but I do get the feeling, just to set some context for RMS, since they have changed CEO-ship, as it were, they have been purging the old line. You can see that they are on super sale in a lot of cases. I've been getting a lot more ads for RMS, but featuring the old products. I'm not sure if they're going to reiterate on them or keep some of them or just completely phase out the old line and bring in the new line, but I have a handful of things as well as the new foundation that are from the new line, and those are what we're going to be using today. So the main thing here obviously is going to be this new RMS Beauty Re-Evolve Natural Finish Foundation. I've had lots of time to get to know this little one, and I have it in the shade 00. It's a really, really good match for me. This is $48. You get 0.98 ounces. Okay. It is a medium coverage natural finish and it's silicone free. So I'm going to be choosing a concealer today that is also silicone free. Just something to bear in mind if something that is silicone free in your collection is being kind of finicky. If you're combining it with things that are really silicone heavy, not always, but if the ingredients don't necessarily agree with one another, it can cause your makeup to break up. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. That's sort of the special selling point here for me. If anybody is really in need of a silicone-free foundation, this is silicone-free. And I think that it's cool that even though they are iterating and innovating as a brand, they're sticking to a lot of their original selling points, which is the, kindness to the skin, the skincare ingredients, and also, just being silicone free. So yeah, we're going to apply this. We're going to talk about my experience with it. We're going to do a full face using some of the other things that I have from RMS, and then I will offer you guys final thoughts on these things at the end. So let's go ahead and jump in. She's had coffee. She's had ice water. She's feeling motivated. All right, like I said, I have this in 00. Something cool is the component. So this is recyclable through curbside at Sephora, I believe. And the whole component is you would wipe this component out if you wanted to get rid of it, but the idea is to keep it, switch your shade out for seasons, or just buy another one when you're done with this one and refill it. And this is what the refill looks like. Just slides into the component like this. Well, like what, Khaki? Boop. Like that. And then it's super, super easy. The only thing that's not recyclable is this little colored cap. I'm going to follow the instructions on the website here. I already have the Glossier After Balm on, so it's going to be even slippier than usual, but I made sure to use like a pretty low-key SPF on top of it so that we're not dealing with too much emollients. Can you not? And it's not gonna be a wear test today. I already have footage of this as it wore through a whole day, and I've been wearing it for several days now. So yeah, I don't have to worry too much about this being scientific. I just want to show you guys what it looks like. So I do have a brush and a sponge at the ready because there's a difference between the two in terms of application, and also the instructions tell you you can do either one. So it is medium coverage, which is different for what we're used to with clean beauty, right? Like, you can really get a whole bunch of coverage with this, but I have also mixed this with the MAC strobe cream, for example, which I think probably does have silicones in it, and thinned it out, made it into a gorgeous, gorgeous skin tint, and it worked famously. It's very agreeable. It kind of reminds me of like the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream cover because it's so concentrated. Like, that was just a pump and I'm just going and going and going, you know? And it really has the feeling of like a true cosmetic, far more than what I used to describe as like farmer's market makeup that was like a lot of the clean beauty brands in the beginning. It's like, okay, you know, we're kind of getting the vibes off of how great the ingredients are, and I feel some kind of moral superiority because it's clean, clean, clean. But we usually compromised on performance, and like the feel-good vibes really couldn't get you far enough to appreciate what it was for the price point. But this feels like prestige beauty to me. So that is, well, as close to a half and half as I could get because I had so much on my brush, but like blemishes, some, you know, sun spotting and freckles and stuff, and then just like wiped clean, as it were. Now, it is not, because it's silicone free, as blurring as I would typically like, but that can be accomplished with powders and with setting sprays. And what's cool about this, because it doesn't have like silicones and I don't know, it doesn't have like a true commitment as to the finish, like it's just kind of a natural adaptable finish. It means that you can, like I said, thin it out with other things, get something really like balmy and like low coverage out of it if you want to, but if you want to apply this on top of like a mattified primer or something that is made for combination to oily skin types to help extend the longevity of your makeup, it can behave like a matte foundation. And the wear time, I find, does actually, I mean, as you might expect, it does perform better if you wear it that way, you know, as like a matte foundation. So when I first tried this, I was like, like, I don't know if I like this, because it kind of reminded me of the one that we just talked about in my last video, the new Hourglass. I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of a foundation that I've tried from like a Black-owned brand, because it's a little bit more geared towards, it's like, I'm not like generalizing Black people's skin type, but the Black-owned brands that I have tried tend to make foundations and complexion products that lean a little bit more towards accommodating oily combination skin. And that was what I thought this was when I first tried it the first couple of times, because it does kind of want to go full coverage. It does kind of want to go a little bit more matte. But what I found was the difference here was that, like I said, you can get just about anything with it. You can use it as a concealer. I mean, it is so intensely pigmented, not as pigmented as the Vision Cream cover, but maybe as pigmented as the Yummy Skin. When Danessa Myricks put out her version, you know, for Sephora, basically, of like a foundation, she thinned out her original Vision Cream cover formula, but not by that much. You know, and it is very, very adaptable in that sense, where it's like you can mix it with a beauty oil, you can mix it with a primer, you can mix it with a sunscreen, well, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you know, something to thin it out that you like the finish of. You can really get a lot of different looks out of it, which I think means that you're gonna get your money's worth out of it, to me, because it wears differently depending on whatever mood you're in. But like, look at that color. It's great on me. Only 16 shades in this line. That could be better, obviously, especially because we're not talking about something that purports itself to be a skin tint. I don't want to, you know, grant concessions to skin tints and say that you only need like 4 in a shade range or something, but you can argue that if you have the wrong shade in a skin tint, it's probably more likely you'll be able to get away with it than you would with something that has this much coverage. It is expansive, not extensive in terms of the shade range. I don't know, guys. I might have misspoken here. Looking at this, it looks just very fair to middling. And then on their Instagram, they make great pains to show that there are basically 4 shades in each depth category: deep, dark, medium, and light. 16 is still not enough, but it's kind of the distribution I'm torn on. So that is that. I mean, is that not so pretty? It's so pretty. And being silicone free, there are certain things that you just have to understand are going to happen. Like, it's not going to wear as lightly on the skin because if things don't have dimethicone in them or what have you, like they just don't have that like lightness that silicone does on your skin. And that means that it's kind of been replaced with waxes or oils or other kinds of binders and stabilizers, and that tends to wear a little bit more noticeably on the skin. And also this has skincare ingredients in it, so you're going to like feel, there is like a certain degree of like feeling that. RMS has always been, it was like founded on the principle of having these unadulterated active ingredients, and that was why for the longest time their stuff was in these little precious containers where you kind of like had to dip your finger in, and it was like, you know, these really small things that were supposedly like uncooked so that the potency of the ingredients wasn't compromised. And that's also why they were so pricey for so little makeup, because of the very short shelf life, lack of preservative, etc. And I think that they are moving more towards like a typical formulation mindset of prestige beauty. But I do notice that it still has like that clean beauty, skincare first kind of like feel on the skin. And as it wears, you're gonna see more pores. That's kind of the other compromise with silicone-free complexion products, is usually they're not as blurring. I do love the luminosity, but we're gonna get blur from the other things that I put on my skin, like my powder and my setting spray. So today we're bringing out an oldie but a goodie. In fact, this is old in the sense that I've used it before on my channel, but this is a new one because the last one that I had smelled weird, so I have another one. This is the Saint Cosmetics Alabaster shade of their concealer, and I picked this again because it's silicone free, so it's more likely to agree with this face of makeup. It's a little bit pink, but so are color correctors on me, so that's fine. You know what I mean? It's gonna do a little bit more color correction. And I do feel like this is a really accurate kind of neutral shade. I'm not sure if that's what 00 is supposed to be. Online, I already saw someone kind of complaining about the fact that they don't list the undertone values in the shade names, which is a little bit annoying. So that is probably why I don't know. All right, I forgot to use the sponge when I was doing the foundation because it worked so nicely with a brush, and so I'm just going to use my nice dampened beauty blender here to do my concealer. But yeah, as the wear goes, I'll go ahead and stick the footage in. I'm not gonna bury the lead here of, you know, how it looks at the end of the day. And I take these clips, the footage, on my phone in natural light, and the phone, man, they've improved the quality on the phone's camera so much that it really makes anything look terrible, doesn't it? But I think all things considered, for a silicone-free formula, it wears nicely. It just does need a little bit of extra care in the area of like blurring and longevity, and that, like I said, can be accomplished with other products in your routine. I always forget how like nice that feels. Like a cold, fluffy, damp beauty blender. A good feeling. I am going to powder a little bit generously just because, like I said, I'm wearing the Glossier underneath this, the Glossier After Balm. It is a really emollient and like tenaciously emollient moisturizer. I'm going to be putting a powder blush, possibly several, on top of this. So I want to go ahead and accommodate for that. So I'm gonna use the Westman Atelier on most of my face and use the Kosas underneath my eyes. The reason I'm going for the Westman Atelier is because it reminds me the most of the Unpowder from RMS, and so I kind of want to, you know, still chase that vibe, even though I don't love the Unpowder. It is like too white, and it's too fluffy, and it's too visible, and this definitely is more elegant of a formula than that, but it's still kind of white. But it preserves the glow in a lovely way without adding a bunch of coverage. But the luminosity of this on the skin is remarkable. And that's the quality that I always talk about in the Laura Mercier Light Reflecting Foundation as well. It kind of has that vibe, except a lot more coverage than that. And also that one has tons of silicone in it. And I'm not vilifying silicone in the least. Silicone is great for making makeup last longer and making makeup wear more lightly, but I mean, it's just a fact. Some people can't wear silicone in their skin products every day. Grabbing my Kosas here. Oh, it's still the best. It's still the best. You don't need to run out and buy the Givenchy. You don't need to run out and buy the Westman Atelier unless those things appeal to you for luxury reasons or your routine is different from mine, or your expectations and wants and needs are different from mine. But if you're like me and you're just looking for something blurring that still maintains the brightness, but makes you look like an angel, like a newborn angel, this will make you look like a newborn angel. That might be over-promising. All right, I have three, I was like, what? 3 of the RMS Re-Dimension Hydra Powder Blushes. I'm gonna swatch them for you real quick if this is your first video that you're seeing these in. Okay, we have here Maiden's Blush, French Rosé, and Hanky Panky from the Re-Dimension Hydrating Blush, or what have you, from RMS. I love this formula. It reminds me a lot of the Bare Minerals bronzers, but there's just a lot more shades. And here I was like describing this in my last video. I was like, it's like this hard pressed thing that has all this blur to it. And someone was like, I think what you're looking for is baked. I think that's the word you're looking for, is that it's a baked formula. So if that's true, then that's what we're working with here. The packaging, I have to hand it to them. The packaging and the presentation here, this like faceted press on the powders is so pretty and satisfying, but I also take a lot of pleasure in ruining it. I'm just like, it's the weird Aries in me. But I also just love the feeling of like using makeup instead of like treating it like it's this pristine thing that's never supposed to be worn in. Like I love wearing in makeup. Anyway, yes, Maiden's Blush goes on kind of like a nude bronzer kind of blush for me. Obviously French Rosé is pink, but it's also really, really like happy. It just looks happy on the skin. It adds this like healthy glow, and they all kind of have this little bit of shimmer to them that's not, I shouldn't say shimmer, it is a refractive quality that makes it go on really smoothly. I've always loved their powder products. This is very, very similar if you're familiar with their old bronzers. They have this mineral quality to them where they spread really easily and they add like a blurred finish to the skin, but we're not talking about glitter. So that's just a clarifier there. And then we have Hanky Panky, which, careful, careful, it does shift a little bit blue purple. So careful there if that would annoy you, but it is a really pretty berry color. So I'm going to start with Maiden's Blush just because it is the closest to my skin tone, and we'll just wash that. I'm gonna use this guy. This is the BK 102. It still has some French Rosé on it. And what I like about these is that it feels very intentional how pigmented they are. The formula lends itself really well to going on in like a blurred and even way, but you can tell by the level of pigmentation, this hair just doesn't want to stay back there. You can tell by the level of pigmentation that it would show up on different skin tones, you know? Especially that pink, like I feel like a pink like that has a tendency, I'm losing bristles, has a tendency to be a little bit ashy. And that one is so pigmented, I feel like it would actually show up really opaque on deep skin. I could be wrong, but like that's how it feels to me. And if you're seeing it go on a little bit uneven, it's because I need to clean my brush. It's not the product's fault. I lost track of the smaller one of this for a while, and I just leaned on this one so hard for everything that it got a little overworked. Love that I can just take Maiden's Blush and like lose track of what I'm doing. I can go into a flow state, you know? just keep on going, keep on putting it on. And do you need all 3 of these to be able to get a look that you like? Obviously not, because I could leave it right there. And maybe I will for now. Just leave that there because we're gonna go in on the eyes next. And I wanna see where that undertone takes me before I go in with more of a different color. But I mean, come on. I'm 35. Like my skin's gonna have texture and imperfections and things like that, but like that makes me look 35 and thriving. Not like I'm trying to be somebody else, but like it makes me look like I'm thriving. All right, so you guys might remember this from a while back, but these are the Eyelights from RMS. This, I think, was the first product that came out in the new RMS 2.0s. We've been talking about it. So this is a shade Spark. I do have one that is in this kind of like melon color, but I don't want to use that one today. I want to go for something really sexy. And you guys know I love this iridescent brown on my eyes. It gives me those like bedroom eyelids. And I enjoy it very much. This is a formula that is like a touch finicky in terms of coverage. So I actually am gonna start, I know, random, right? I'm gonna start with the Matte Fluid Eye Paint from About Face Beauty in the shade Capulets. It's just a really pretty, medium, neutral, kind of coffee color. And it works great as an eyeshadow base to even out the color on my lids before I start putting shimmer on. And this, unlike the RMS, will kind of spread indefinitely. You can keep working this for a long time. It does dry down, but I feel like it gives you a lot of time before it does. Whereas that RMS has a pretty quick dry down, and so I wanted to use something a little bit more forgiving to start with. Isn't that pretty though? I love that color. About Face presents itself as quite the unconventional, you know, wild brand, and I love that. I have that necessity in my routine often where I'm just like, I want to do something artistic and I want to have the tools at my disposal, but at the same time, like, take one out of context and you got a really, really pretty beige eyeshadow, right? So this is what I'm gonna go in with on top, and I will probably also go in with something to mattify the crease and such, because you guys know I am not team shimmer in the crease. It's just not me. How gorgeous is that? And I'm going to take just a flat brush here, and I'm not really making like a big deal out of blending this because I am going to, again, like pull another shadow out, but I just want to make sure that it's everywhere that I want it to be, right? Also, I did a dumb thing. I looked up while I did that and it wasn't dry yet, so. But it dries really fast, and unlike other RMS products of yore, it actually like really, really stays put. Like that's not going anywhere. Anywhere. I'm gonna pick it up on a brush, go underneath there. Are you starting to see the bedroom eyes fantasy? Still using that same blob I put on the back of my hand the second time. The first time is already dried down. All right, I'm gonna grab a little bit of it on a brush. This comes in these little aluminum tubes, which is cool to me. I like that. I'm just gonna tap that because as you blend these, they do start to shear out. It reminds me a little bit of the Vesca eyeshadows, the liquid eyeshadows, because as you blend them out, like they do blend even after they're dry. You can still get them to blend a little bit, but they take on a different color. You start to see a little bit more of the undertone of the shadow itself versus the shimmer, which I think is cool. You start to see a little bit more of kind of a plummy brown that's underneath there. Awesome. Blend, 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 blend. Okay, I'm going to choose some kind of matte for out here. I thought I had one in mind. You know what? I think I do. And it's not even matte. La 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 la, Elmo's song. She's losing her mind. That's Elmo's song. Do 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 do. Oh, you know, I just realized I need to swatch that RMS shade for you guys against the other things that are similar to it. I'm actually not using a matte in the crease. I'm gonna go in with Starfish in the Mermaid Eye color from Chantecaille, just because what it's gonna do, it's not shimmery. It's not as shimmery as what I have on my lids, but it's going to add like a little tiny bit of coolness and a little bit more, I don't know, flattening to the outer corner here without turning it into not this. I don't want to add black, you know, or like dark matte brown and give myself some exaggerated wing. I just want to add to the smokiness, but I want to build the illusion that my outer corner just kind of fades, you know what I mean? It just sort of exists in the ether instead of being so tiny and, as Kelly Gooch puts it, a mile between my outer corner and my eyebrow. And I'm using the Angie Hot and Flashy A504 from BK. BK Beauty, y'all. sent me this huge box of cookies after the sale. Did not know that they were going to do that. And they don't know that I'm gluten intolerant, so like my husband is in heaven right now. He like saw them, he's like, oh my God. Because they're gorgeous. They're from a company called Delicious. And I mean, every single one of them is a meal. They're huge. So awesome. Oh, I love it. I love how that's looking. I do. Whew. Need a little bit of like a brow highlight, and like bring back a little bit of brightness, but like that's my vision. That was my vision. All right, I'm going to swatch the RMS against the Tom Ford and the Orange Blossom brown color from Kaja real quick, because those are my two favorite browns currently. Ooh, a fascinating discovery here. All right, so here's the one we're comparing to. This is Spark from RMS. This is Naked Bronze, just the cream, from Tom Ford in a little pot like this guy. And this right here is the brown shade that's in the bottom pan of the Kaja Orange Blossom Trio, which I have to admit, I mean, this is my absolute favorite brown right now. Like, just smash it all over my eyeballs. It's so great. It's so easy to work with. And once again, much like their trio of like face products, their bronzer, blush, highlight combo, I would argue in favor of, you know, buying them if they all appeal to you, but it's like 1 out of 3. I like all of them personally, but don't buy it just for the one. That's why it's worth swatching. And then this one right here is actually just Starfish from Chantecaille, which I already have like on the crease, and it is intuitive actually to put it with Spark because it does have that same little bit of purple in it, that plumminess, versus these two which have just a pure brown, and this one's even actually, like the name would suggest, a little bit more bronze. So still, Orange Blossom, man. The makeup obsessed urge to lick an eyeshadow, right? So I'm going to do what I always do and zoom through eyeliner and eyebrows and mascara, and we will talk about all these products real quick, do a quick smash through of all the prices, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. Okay. Oh, just for a moment. This is the look so far. Let's choose a lip real quick. Typology sent me all of their lip oils, and I have this one here in powder pink. I feel like that's just right. Just the right amount of color, but not so much that it overwhelms everything else. And I feel like it's also pulling something really nice from the shift in that eyeshadow. Like, do I feel like I need more blush? No, I don't. I feel like Maiden's blush has so much dimension to it. It's like showing a different color in the shadow than it is in the light. Doing me a lot of favors, honestly. Okay, let's quickly talk about the prices of the RMS products specifically. The Redimensioned Hydra Powder Blush, which I have bought all with my own money, are $30 a piece, although I want to say when I bought the first two, I got some kind of discount for buying them on their website. I don't totally remember, but I think that I might have. And there are 6 shades in that, and they're all just absolutely gorgeous. They're so pretty. Aha. RMS Beauty, they've got a new slogan on their Sephora landing page that says RMS Beauty, where clean beauty began and where it's going next. I like that, but also just trying to put a spin on the fact that they're a little bit different. This is RMS 2.0. The eyeshadows are $26 and they also come in 6 shades. And then the Re-Evolve Medium Coverage Liquid Foundation is $48. I wonder if they're already selling the refills. Yes. Credo already has the refills, Blue Mercury already has the refills, and the RMS website already has the refills. I don't see them on Sephora. The refill is $40 versus $48. So the component is $8 for all those playing along at home. Just in case I missed anything as far as the descriptors on this Re-Evolve Medium Coverage Liquid Foundation, let me go ahead and check. Clean as Sephora, long wearing, no silicones, liquid formula, medium coverage, natural finish. It has a highlighted ingredient, a proprietary ingredient called Titanol. Titan YLTM, an advanced ingredient that visibly firms, tones, and smooths. So, skincare claims. Vegetable squalene, a moisture-rich plant-based emollient that hydrates, but squalene and squalene, I know there's a difference, but I think that they both have just a quality to them that is balancing for different skin types. It's an oil that is very typically recommended for combination and oily skin types because it is known to balance your natural oils. Adaptogenic herbal blend balances, soothes, softens, and hydrates. You guys know I think it's funny that we're putting adaptogens in everything. We just keep co-opting ideas from what we think are like these medicinal ancient cultures and things like that with absolutely no context, but who am I to say? Has aloe, and I do want to see if it's got any coconut in it. It has cocoa caprylate, but I'm not seeing any direct coconut oil. Starts with water. Water is the primary ingredient. The oils are jojoba seed oil, sunflower oil, marigold flower extract, vegetable squalene, horsetail leaf extract, country sarsaparilla, you can only say that with a southern accent, ashwagandha, olive leaf extract, and aloe. So it's got a lot of really beautiful fats and oils in it and whatnot, but also being a clean beauty, a lot of times the naturally derived ingredients can be red flag ingredients for people's skin. I did want to call out some of those main ingredients there, but I think that I am ready to give you guys my final thoughts on this. So I want to just say, like, out of zero context for RMS, is this a good foundation, especially for a silicone-free formula? Yes. The other silicone-free formulas that I have reviewed lately have been the Jones Road Beauty, the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I want to say the Chanel might even be the new Chanel, No. 1 Day Chanel might be silicone-free. Either way, you're getting a really intelligent formula here, especially for something that is silicone free. There are, like I said, caveats to it, and that makes me want to build in the advice if you are interested in this. If it doesn't work perfectly like you want it to the first time, try to think about this as something that you can manipulate for your taste, even if your taste changes on a daily basis. If it doesn't work for you the way that you want it to, try mixing it with something. Try changing your base, what you're prepping your skin with. Try changing your setting mist. Try changing your powder. Think about the ingredients of the concealer that you're using it with, things like that, because unlike many formulas that are meant to be high performance, luxury, and have a lot of silicones and high-tech ingredients in them, this is going to be something that is very adaptable to the consumer. It doesn't have one way that you have to wear it. It has one way that it prefers to be worn, but it doesn't specifically dictate one way that you have to wear it. That might not be everybody's thing. Sometimes you want to find the foundation that does the thing that you want it to do, and it does it consistently every single day, and solved. But if you do want to own one silicone-free foundation and you are okay with, slash maybe enjoy, the ability to mix it with a beauty oil, mix it with a primer, mix it with highlighting gel or whatever and get different finishes out of it and have something that is a very malleable, adaptable formula, this could be great for you. The one major drawback here is 16 shades. I never want to give a double standard just because it's a clean beauty company. If Sephora is gonna carry a brand, which they've been carrying RMS the whole time, they need to be putting pressure on brands like this to release more than 16 shades and more deep shades than that. It does go medium fairly quickly. I don't know, maybe not. It stays light for a while, doesn't it? Yeah, and then but it does kind of like really hug this medium range pretty hard, which is interesting to me. I really feel like, sure, yes, those are all different undertones, but like we're spending a lot of time here when we should be spending just as much time right here. These leaps are really, really unfair. That needs improvement. And I continue to talk about clean beauty brands because I think that there is something to be said, especially for a brand that claims to be clean beauty, is releasing itself as like a 2.0. And so I assume that they're trying to pay more attention to this conversation, but also because everybody of every skin tone deserves to have the option to wear clean beauty and to wear something that appears to still be making an attempt to stay true to their founding values and maybe dropping away from some of their other founding values, but we can do better on the shade range, okay? All at once, when it comes out on the release, it needs to have all the shades, not some promise of we're going to be expanding as we go. Do the thing, do it. If you're gonna do it, do it. If you're not, don't, you know? Especially because at face value, I feel like this foundation wants to wear, like it seems to be designed to wear, well on combination skin. Feels a little bit like a disagreement there between the formula, who it's maybe geared towards, and the shade range, you know? I am keeping my eye on RMS as they, you know, continue to iterate. I just want to believe. I want to believe, and that's just my own personal optimism, not for RMS and certainly not for Rosemarie, but just for clean beauty in general, because LYS can't be the only brand out there, you know, catering towards deep skin. So, oh, I've had a bristle stuck to my nose the whole time. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so here it is up close. It gives me a really soft, blurred finish with the setting mist and the powders that I used. I appreciate the nourishing nature of the ingredients. And that is that today. I hope that this was fun, informative, useful for you guys. And if it was, please do give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.